Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you are new, hit that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, thank you, I appreciate it. I have been noticing more frequent subscribers. People are starting to kind of comment a little bit more and like things. I appreciate that a lot. I've actually met quite a few people through this channel, believe it or not. We're gonna jump right into it though. So in that last hour-long video, I know I rambled on about all kinds of stuff. I didn't really know what to do with that video. I just kept coming out here, picking up the camera, talking, recording, whatever I could do. So kind of at the point now where it's going to be like smaller videos where I can just explain what I'm doing. That's what we're going to do right now. So it looks a little different. I did take off the turbo pedestal, and I think it's about it actually, and the oil drain, because what we have here is a Harrington T4 kit. Yes, we are going to be running a S300 frame turbo on this. I'm going to try something different. The last setup was the 205/30s with a KC Stage 3 on stock head bolts. Stock fuel setup besides the blue spring kit and the lift pump. So now we are going to be running, like I said, this T4 with a S360 4.5. It's a 64.5 73 with a 9.1 housing. I did a lot of research before I chose that. It literally took me 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks, to figure out what turbo I was going to run. A lot of people told me to run the 366, but a lot of people also said it would be laggy with 205/30s. A lot of people ran it with 20500s or bigger and said it did decent, was still kind of laggy. My original plan with this truck was it was not going to be a tow truck, daily driver, anything. This was going to be just a weekend or get off work, go home, blow the tires off it. That's what it was going to be. That's why I cut the hitch off it, because we were going to roll pan it. I had a lot bigger plans than what I could do now, I guess. Actually, before I started doing this, I had my life was a little bit different. Now I actually have another kid on the way, and that kind of changes things. This truck can hold 6 people, and I have 6 people in my life now. So this is going to be a fun, reliable tow vehicle, which I will be driving it more than towing, but when I need to tow, I can do it. So that's why I chose the 364.5. They spool quick. A lot of people actually said the EGTs would be lower. So here we are, T4 kit. There's our up pipes, the up pipes that I already bought, which I'm going to save. I was going to sell these to get some of my money back out of this, but if I don't like this setup, all I got to do is find a turbo and I can go right back to what I was. So there's our up pipes. Here is our drain, or our oil feed, not our drain. There's that guy. Scoop loop that back in there. That radiator bracket doesn't come with the T4 kit, or the alternator. You don't need that either. Here's our pedestal with our drain. Oh, I was way off on angle there. The pedestal, the drain, all of our bolts, pedestal bolts, up pipe bolts, our mounting bolt for the drain, and I'm not exactly sure what these ones are for. I don't know, but this, like I said, it's a Harrington kit. They're like $1,400 brand new. I bought this off of a buddy of mine. It came off of his, like, a drag truck that he bought from somebody. So I got the alternator from him too, because I destroyed mine, and I actually sanded that down on the inside now, so we can put this back onto this alternator and throw that back on and finish mounting up the R&R kit. I got another radiator from him. I would have liked to go with a nice aluminum aftermarket one, but it is what it is. I got the Gates green belt for a single alternator setup. All these boxes right here are actually for my daily, a little 200. I got hit in that car, so now I got to replace the whole back corner of the suspension, plus a bunch of other stuff that's just worn out from time. And I got a trailer hitch from him too. Dude hooked me up, gave me a good deal on all the stuff. I got a transline set here that comes off the trans filter to the radiator or to the cooler, whatever. That's all I got for that. But right now we are going to, I'm going to throw this pedestal on and see what it looks like. Well, the pedestal, the feed and the drain is in. That pedestal can only go in one way. If you spin it the other way, both of this side of the brackets right here will either hit they both hit the H-pop cover and the oil filter housing. So that can only go in one way. I did spin my hose around on my EGR tube here, or this coolant hose, because when you have this head over here on that side, it kind of gets in the way of the extension or your socket to tighten down that bolt over there. This is kind of, I like that you can spin this a little bit and you get a little bit of, you know, flexibility to get it out of the way to put the turbo in. That's kind of nice. Not like the hard line there. Once you put it in, you can bend it a little bit, but I'm going to get that out of there. That was covering my feed. I'm going to throw these up pipes on real quick. Now that I'm into this and I'm a little bit close to getting this motor wrapped up, it does bother me a little bit now that the rocker box and this H-pop cover is not the same color. But once again, once it's all together, like, you're not going to see much of this. You'll mainly see the pipes and, you know, the front of the Fickum brackets, the oil filter housing, which sucks because I destroyed this on an accident. I was trying to clean off some clear coat at the inside of it with a blade or with a wire wheel and ended up nicking the outside of it, but it is what it is. It'll be leaking here soon anyway. I'm gonna throw these I'm gonna set these up pipes on here real quick and see how these fit. Well, I do like the fact that there is no gasket there. Up pipes are on, just kind of, I got them tightened down just a hair. Like I said in the last video, I don't want to tighten these down. I don't want to tighten this whole entire exhaust setup down until I get the turbo on. I would like to kind of start from here, get this down pipe set up right, get the feed, the drain, mounted it up here on the up pipes, and then kind of work my way back up here. So that way next time I do this, I'm not trying to fight it either way, which I don't think it'll matter, but I just feel more comfortable doing it this way. So when I do get to this spot here at some point, I think I'm gonna try to make a hanger or something to go on here to try to hold this up, or put something somewhere in here so this is up and off that trans bracket, because most people know that anybody who puts an exhaust on a 6.0, especially if this is a factory downpipe, which I'm gonna try to change that up before this done, but like 90% of the time you get the exhaust rattling on the trans bracket here, and everybody thinks there's something wrong, but really it's just that. So I got this all set up. This is pretty much what we're looking like now, I guess. It's kind of crazy and cool. I've never done a S300 on a 6.0 before, so this would be kind of neat. It's wild looking, it's weird. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this alternator off really fast, pull that cover off. Don't want to get any of that here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this cover off and see if I can get this my powder coated cover onto this alternator. It's kind of different. There's no compression washer behind this one like there was this one, but that's different style bolt or nut. So got that one. Use our broken socket for extra security. Well, I kind of just screwed myself for footage wise, but something was a little bit different between these two. This alternator has this power connection coming up to like this little bar up top. I don't even know how to, this adapter, I guess you'd say. This one doesn't. This one just kind of comes out the back of the alternator, which I can bend that wire. I just tested it and it'll bend fine. They do look a little bit different. I know this isn't a Motorcraft one, this is. I didn't ask my buddy if this, I would assume this came off of a single alternator truck. I don't know if the alternators are different, if it was factory dual, but I just tried to slide this cover on to make sure I sanded it down good enough, and now it won't come back off, but it slid on fine. So I'm not gonna mess with this because that's how I broke the last one. So I got it to go over, and I'm gonna see if I can get this thing threaded in. Well, alternator is on, looking pretty nice up there with the purple. I kind of just have this bolt right here is just a hair loose. I can't really finish regulator return kit until I at least get the intake on the turbo, because I believe this line right here, I think we're gonna have to angle this one up, this fitting, because I believe this goes up over the intake. I guess it doesn't really matter. If I want to hide it, I can, but I kind of want to get it angled up anyway because of this fitting here. So I bought a 45 and I bought a 90, and when I run this, put this 45 on here, I feel like that comes up pretty high. I mean, you know, I know we can obviously always bend it down, but I might even actually, when I go to put this cab on, I might leave this until I get all these wires thrown up over the top of this. I kind of have it set up right now to where when all of this comes over and go straight up, the steering shaft will still go through, and I'm going to zip tie these lines over off to the side. But I would still like to make this kind of pretty, so I don't want to finish setting it up now when it's not all put together. So I know at least when this turbo comes in, which I'm hoping it's going to be here this week, I can kind of finish pretty much everything up. Once this turbo's here, this thing's pretty much wrapped up, besides going through and checking things. I'm gonna throw this green belt on real quick, kind of anxious to see what that looks like, and then we might get over there and try to get those lines disconnected. I don't know if you guys use this or not, but if you take the tension off your tensioner, you can lock the tensioner up by just pushing down on this tab, or pushing in when the tensioner's up. The green belt's looking pretty dope on there, I'm not gonna lie. I looked online and Gates had them on their website, I think for like 78 bucks or something maybe, and Rock Auto had it for $38. So gotta look around. I guess that's pretty, I don't know why I love that green belt, man. That is just so cool looking. I love it. I was gonna set this up because I feel like I just been kind of blowing through the first part of this video, just putting things on, but my camera's only at 14%, so I just been letting it charge while I'm doing stuff. So my camera's been upstairs while I was editing the last video, so I don't know. I think I might try to work on that trans line, but it's kind of a pain in the ass doing it in here because I have that much room. My belly's bigger than that, so it's kind of hard to get in there. And I kind of want to try to line these trans lines up because they just, for some reason, they just don't look like they're bent right. One looks like it's going to be higher than the other, which I think that's how it is actually anyway. But if you turn these both the same way to go into that trans filter, one line's pushed out on this left side here, and I know they both have to be straight to go in, so you can't rotate these. I just have a feeling that not good. The only reason I even bought that was it was like 28 bucks off Rock Auto instead of fighting these fittings down here. And whatever, I just decided to buy the whole piece to see if, I don't know, it's just one more line that I don't have to worry about in this thing going bad. So the this radiator has the fittings in it already for that. Oh, it's on the other side. No, it's down here. Yeah, it has those already. So, well, actually, I got to take them out anyway because the lines were cut in there. Well, I'm waiting for the turbo to show up. Like I showed you guys, I'm pretty sure I already put the green belt on. What I'm messing with right now is 05 to 07 Super Duties have, I guess, a certain size fitting in here, which what I seen online is like almost all like 08 or 04 and newer F-150s, 250s, 350s have this style fitting on it. There's no room to get in between the line and the actual fitting, so they make a certain one. I bought an entire kit of those. I had a bunch of quick disconnects in there, and I ended up buying the scissor style one. A lot of people said the Lyle brand is like the best one. This one worked fine because you can see it's thin here and then it flares out to a bigger style, which lets you get around this rib right there, and you can drop it in there. This one goes in but the line won't come out. So I did get the assembly off the transcooler housing there, which I did buy this new piece here. I didn't technically need to, but instead of fighting with these lines, because I knew this was going to be a pain in the first place, so instead of fighting with the lines and the fittings, I just was going to buy new ones. And to be honest with you, before I came out here, I feel like I remember breaking that line for some reason. So whatever, it was like 20 bucks, and here we are. So I'm going to have to fight with these fittings for a little bit. This was actually the one that was in this radiator. This one was still left on the factory trans line, which I will say without a doubt that these lines right here, they feel a lot cheaper made. I don't know what the material difference is, if these lines are made out of something different, I don't know, or if it's just OEM versus Chinese crap. But I'm going to try to get these fittings out of here. If not, I don't really want to spend the money, but they're like between $30 and $40 a piece for those two fittings. So if I can't get them out safely without them re-leaking when I put it back on, I'm going to buy new ones. So I'm going to fight with these things for a little bit. Alrighty. Well, I'm still waiting on the turbo to show up. Dude told me if I ordered it on the Thursday that it would show up on Tuesday. Called him Tuesday, or called him Monday because I had no tracking number. And then he said it was supposed to be at my house on Thursday. So I called him today, which is Friday, and he said it'll be here Tuesday. I looked at the tracking number and he shipped it on the day that he said it was supposed to show up the second time. So now that I have tracking number, it says it's supposed to be here Thursday. So as soon as that gets here, I'm going to drop the cover off, the housing, and my couple little parts here. But so I've been doing something off camera, and I don't know if I necessarily like it. I started painting the frame on this thing. I'll just show you. So up here is like a rubberized flat black undercoating stuff. I'm not going to use the rubberized stuff anyway. I didn't realize like that's how rubbery it was. It'll peel right off with your nail. So you can see where I changed it over at. I started using Pour 15, and I've been kind of just whacking away at it here. I think it looks pretty good for what the frame used to look like. I mean, this thing, I've picked up, I mean, probably pounds of rust and chunks and dust, whatever fell off this thing. Kind of hard to see over here, but so I did the whole top and front of the frame. I haven't touched the bottom yet. I've been sanding and grinding this thing down. I've already went through one of these, just one of these knotted wheels, these knotted wire wheels. I went through one of those already, pretty much just on this side of the truck. And then the cross members, I haven't touched the middle one yet. So I'm not 100% sure of how I actually feel about this gloss, the glossy black, because it looks sweet and it looks nice, but I think it shows more of the imperfections. Yes, there's imperfections. This frame was not sandblasted. It's not going to look perfect. I'm not going to put that much time into a truck that's been in Michigan for almost, I don't know, 20 years now. So it definitely looks a hell of a lot better. I'll say that for sure. The stuff's still wet. I'm not rolling this on, I'm brushing this on. And I used a foam brush, so that way I don't see all the streaks in it. And honestly, like, if I had this entire thing ready to do right now, which I probably should have, because at the end stuff's probably going to stick to this, because I still have to do a little bit of sanding over there, but I'm going to let this stuff dry as long as I can before I have to touch that. But I think it turned out pretty good so far. Yeah, this is that other wheel there. I mean, I completely destroyed that one. So I bought a couple cans of this Ace Rust Stop. I highly doubt that stuff's gonna hold up, but I'm just spraying that kind of like in areas where it's kind of hard to get with a brush. I don't know if you can spray that stuff out of a gun. It seems very just thick and nasty, so I probably wouldn't attempt it. But I think what I'm probably gonna end up doing is, if this gloss doesn't grow on me, or depending on what it looks like outside, I know half the stuff you're not going to see anyway, so it's going to look a lot better black than it is rust, whether it's gloss or flat. But if I don't like it, I'm just going to go buy a can of like Rust-Oleum flat black, and I'm just going to spray it out of a gun, just tape everything off and do it really fast. I know it's kind of like double touching it, but I have no idea what happened. My camera just said my SD card couldn't record in the current format or file or whatever, I don't know, or settings. Anyway, trying to get this thing set up so that way when the last couple parts come back from powder, I'm gonna throw those on and then hopefully go grab the skid steer and put the cab back on this. I don't need these parts that I have for powder back to put the cab on. I do have to get this frame finished painting and then do a couple more small things, and then I'm ready to put the cab on. The only reason I want to wait for the turbo housing to come back is I want to make sure that everything's clocked right and everything's set up on this T4 kit. I've never put one in, so I'd, you know, if I was just putting the 6.0 like a factory VGT turbo back in, or drop-in style, I would just say screw it. But I want to make sure that everything is set up right on this turbo before I go and fight with it on the up pipes and anything else in the back when the cab's on. So yeah, one more little quick look. I mean, this frame has so much pitting in it. I mean, I don't even think sandblasting would get it 100% perfect. So it's gonna look good for what we're doing. Eventually, what I would like to do is get another 6.0 or a 7.3 Cummins or something to haul our camper and just make it my tow truck, my haul truck, and then eventually make this thing just like a straight weekend street race fun truck. I mean, gut everything, you know, make this just a straight, not doing anything other than hauling ass. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna probably work on this frame a little bit more and wait for this turbo. All right. So the man's Mac over at MDC Diesel, he told me the truth. All right, hold on, I gotta record this real quick. So he told me the truth Tuesday. It is Tuesday words, and it showed up. So here we are. This is a Smeding 64 7391. So it's a 64.5 with a 73 millimeter turbine wheel with a 0.91 AR housing. I just pulled it out of the box for a sec, showed all the peeps what was going on here. I'm going to pull this out real quick. I think I am going to try to test fit this real fast, so that way I have too much stuff in here. I had this covered up because I was grinding in here, so I didn't want all that stuff everywhere in here. But I am going to try to test fit this real fast, make sure everything's good. If everything's lining up fine, I'm going to tighten down all the hardware on the exhaust side and get to it. Started painting that side the other day. Looking good. Oh, got it lined up pretty good now. So I already had the turbine housing clocked or loosened up so I could position it, clock it right. So I got it lined up pretty good on the oil drain. I got all 4 bolts in the pedestal right now, or in the on the up pipes. So down pipe will line up pretty good here. So there's a little bit of a gap at the bottom right now still. I ended up loosening. I had these not tight but not loose at the same time. They were on there to hold it up straight. So I ended up just cracking a hair, cracking it loose a hair, pushed it forward, lined up good. So I'm gonna finish up tightening down all of my manifold, my hardware. I'm gonna put a gasket between the turbo and the drain here, and then tighten that down first, and then I'm gonna work my way back. The manifolds have a little bit of play in it, not much, but I still left them loose just in case. So should be good here. It'd be nice to get the housing ceramic coated. My buddy was just telling me that on the phone. I think that would be pretty cool. Try to keep it clean, but it's exciting seeing a turbo on this thing now. Yeah, buddy. So I got turbo all tightened down. Up pipes are tight, manifolds are tight. Got the oil feed in. The thing I'm worried about is with the 2 bolts here that go on the pedestal and the drain, is the bolts that came in the kit that I bought from my buddy. He had like I think it was an like a S460 some, or an S4, I don't know. It was a bigger turbo, I know that. So I think the mounting holes here were bigger because the bolts he gave me didn't fit through here. So I have 2 bolts in here right now, but I don't necessarily like them because the hole inside the pedestal here is bigger than the hole that's drilled in the turbo for the mounting. So if you disconnect this here, you can actually slide the turbo back and forth, and obviously that's a drain there. So I need to, I need to almost find a bolt that'll fit the same size diameter as the pedestal but has the same size thread thickness here. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to explain, but I just explained it and I know what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, I just realized this too. I'm pretty sure I left the which I thought it slid down here, to be honest with you, but it's not there. So I need to get a new V-band clamp for the downpipe. I just loaded up all the parts to go, the rest of the parts to get dropped off for powder. And once I get that stuff back, I think we're pretty much good to drop the cab on. And once I get the cab on, I gotta finish these two. The fuel feed and the return. I'm not doing this until I get it. I cut them longer than I needed. This one right here goes to this fitting, so I cut them longer than I needed, but yeah, once we get the cab on, we're gonna start wiring this thing up and hopefully try to find a bed here soon. I was gonna record me doing this right here, but I had to go through, you guys can see over there, I had to go through every single nut and bolt that I had to try to find some that would fit in here, and I found two. I just don't like the way they fit. I just have them here, I guess, really for just kind of mocking this thing up. I found a bed for this truck too, but it's all the way in Texas. So Justin actually said he would drive to Texas to go get the bed for me, so I'm waiting for pictures. If not, then I'm gonna drive around with no bed because I don't want to run around with a white bed. Can't stand that. But anyway, wait for some parts to come back, and we'll get this housing on and go from there. Went and picked up the turbo and the brackets and the degas bottle. I should have had them back Saturday, but there were some issues with the powder and the keyring and paint and whatever. So I got to spend a little bit of time doing some unwanted cleaning and fixing. I'm not gonna blame anybody because this shit doesn't happen every day. One of the bolts I taped off the back of the turbo housing here, and this bolt right here, the hole was popped out and they hung it from here, or put a bolt in it and tied some wire around it and then hung it from that. So now there's powder inside the threads. I just sat in the house and, of course, just sat in the house and scraped it out with a pick. I think I'm probably gonna end up having to rethread this hole here, which sucks because it's just unwanted time. It's freezing outside all of a sudden, so not necessarily pressed, but the degas bottle's done too, which I think is pretty cool. It didn't come out the best, but we knew it wasn't going to come out the best. There's some fisheye and some light spots. I told them, honestly, don't even stress about the back side of this because you don't see it anyway. I said, as long as the front looks good and the turbo looks good, that's fine. Well, you can honestly kind of see it, and that's not the lighting. You can see the difference between these two radiator brackets. This one is a lot more, it's a lot lighter, more of like a, I don't even know what kind of purple. It's just lighter. And then there were some issues with the clear coat. They powdered all that stuff. Everything else came out fine except for these parts here, which I told him, I said, dude, as long as the turbo comes out good, I'm fine with it. And it came out pretty straight. There's a couple little minor flaws with it, but I'm not going to stress about it. These guys, they always hook me up. Like I said, I used to work for this company in powdering, so I know the issues you do have with powder sometimes. So I'm not going to stress about it, but I did get I got another sending unit too. I got one from my buddy up north. I'm sure this came out of a parts truck somewhere. So I'm going to pull that sending unit out and match it to this one, or match this one to that one. There's some differences between the two because of the way it's being used now. This is literally just used to return fuel and tell me how much fuel's in it. There's really no other use for it other than that. I know these trucks have a pump up here anyway, but this pump's gone too because of the fast and the way we ran our lines. I'm sure you guys seen in the last video that all of this is different now. There's no factory fuel lines on this. So I'm going to work on getting this bolt out, or getting this bolt in, see if I can get everything done. Then I gotta set it on here, and I'm gonna get it close to where I think it needs to be. The outlets, or the inlet's gonna come in like right here somewhere, or outlet, whatever you want to call it, for the intercooler pipe. It's gonna come out about right here somewhere on the bottom, or kind of angles up. So I'm still trying to find, I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to call Harrington, but I called one of the numbers I found for them, and some dude that spoke like not English. I don't even think it was any language that we know or was taught. I don't think it's any of those. So I couldn't get any good answer out of that guy. But I'm trying to find these bolts that have the same size diameter on the bottom here, the drain, and then try to find something that has the same thread pitch and diameter as the turbo too. So basically, if you didn't catch in the beginning of this video, is if I was to loosen these two bolts up right now, you could slide this turbo back a little bit. So the diameter on the pedestal is bigger than the bolt too. So I'm trying to find something that's like chamfered or whatever you want to call that down in here, so I can get no more moving out of this. I want to eliminate that just because that is the drain. So I don't want any issues with that. Other than that, yeah, I'm gonna mess around with this turbo real quick so I can get these threads cleaned out and then get it put on. So I went a little bit further than I should have off camera, but it's not done. I'm not leaving it like this. I just kind of needed to do this. So this is looking super crispy right now. I'm getting so excited for this build. So what I got going on here is so this turbo is going to have to be clocked for this intercooler pipe and this boot and all this stuff here. So I just have like 3 of them tight right now just to hold it in place, which I pretty much kind of looked back at my old pictures before I took this apart, so I can kind of see where this has got to go, but it's not going to be 100% off the pictures. So I threw that pipe on over here, and an issue I was having on this side is I need to be able to figure out where these fuel lines, the feed and the return is going to go, how it's going to route through here. And I had a feeling that this line right here, it shows it in the picture, but I was kind of hoping that I was going to be able to run this under here, but it does actually put, it's not long enough to technically go underneath this and come up. It will rub a little bit, and if it does start leaking, or I can kind of watch it up here a little bit better. It looks dumb because it's going over the intake right now, and I don't like that, but I did try to put it underneath here, but right there you can see that the intake, I think that's the IAT sensor right there, I'm thinking maybe. But that, and then the other hard line for the R&R kit, the regulator return kit, is right there. So it does kind of hit all that, and it will hit the regulator block coming up here too. So I'm gonna run it over it. I'm gonna get a piece of just like small, like that thick 3M tape or some kind of padding to put over here right now. It doesn't really stay up. I've tightened it down, and I've tightened it down and held it up like this. It doesn't stay, so it's going to rub. It's kind of very ironic here that there is a mark or a scratch. There's an indent in this intake right here where this fuel line is. It's kind of ironic, but I'm super excited with this. This is looking pretty sweet. I'm super excited now. Now that these pipes are on here, there's a lot more color on there, and it's looking cool. And it's really crazy how much everything changes when you walk around this. It's like straight blue right there. That is so cool looking. This turbo is 100% different color right now, and it's not the lighting. This did not come out like all the other stuff did, which is crazy because this was just raw beforehand. So you think it would have turned out the same as these, since these were raw too. But don't care. You're not really gonna see it too much. So I am gonna be pulling all the pipes back off. Like I said, I just needed this there to kind of figure out my routing for some things. I got it under control now. I think these fuel lines are just gonna go straight up through here, and it's gonna kind of sit on the other side of that mount right there for pulling the motor out, whatever those are called, these little eye hooks and eye bolts. And I think I'm just gonna have them sitting right in here, or might go on the outside. I just don't want stuff to be rubbing. But then again, when I flip all this over and it's up on the firewall, got to make sure that nothing is being pinched or pulled, and the steering shaft can go down through here, which right now, the way I have it, it sits perfect in there. But again, I don't want any rubbing, so that's going to be a project for when the cab's on. I'm going to leave these up here like this. I have my fittings already. I have a 90 and a 45 for this to figure out what kind of angle I'm going to need. But I think if I'm coming up through here, the 90 is probably going to work better, but every bend you have, you lose more flow. So I would like to do the 45 since it's on less of an angle. But the turbo is on. The housing's on. Like I said, I have a couple of these tight right now. It's going to be challenging to get down there to make sure that that one is super tight. There is kind of like a straight path here, but that doesn't matter because you're working on a 6.0, so everything sucks. I think that's about it. I will say though that this entire project, I will give a huge shout out to Mario at Night Shift. I know he's out there for the 6.0s, and you call that dude and start talking to him about a 6.0 and he will chat your ear off. Not in a bad way. He'll tell you anything you need to know, any questions you got. I'm having an issue with these 2 pedestal bolts. I said that before. I called a couple other companies, some diesel shops out there, and they won't even talk to me. since I didn't buy this Harrington kit from them, they won't talk to me about it. They have no advice, blah blah blah. I called Mario. That dude found the number for Harrington for me. Harrington I don't even think is a thing anymore, but he found their number, sent it to me. I called them, left a voicemail. They're gonna try to call me back. Hopefully they will call me back. But Mario is like, huge shout out to that dude. Check them out. They are in Lapeer County. They've done some work on Justin's truck before in the past. They're really cool. I stopped in there one time. Dude hooked a scanner up to my truck, tried to help me with some stuff, ran some tests on this thing back when I owned it like 2 years ago. And he's just a cool dude. And huge shout out to you, man. I really appreciate your help on all this. He's helped me through a ton of shit, just talking advice, do this, do that, don't pair this with that. He was awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna pull these pipes back off, and I'm gonna start assembling the glass eye and all everything I took out of this coolant bottle, or the degas bottle, which I think is gonna look pretty sweet in there. And I'm gonna throw that fuel pump in too. Alright, so I'm getting ready to kind of copy setups here, and I'll just explain it. So when the fast was put on this truck, which I thought that the tank was dropped, and maybe it wasn't. So basically what happened was, instead of doing the draw straw setup where you have to drill a hole through the top of the tank, this has a sump in it, so obviously the fuel has to get returned back into the tank somehow. So this setup, I guess, on this one is the return is pushed back through the pickup because it's a bigger diameter than the drain itself. So I'm going to kind of, I guess, just copy that from this one. But yeah, that's just how it was set up. I didn't do this fast. I didn't do the install. Another one of our buddies up north did it, and I just called him. I'm like, hey, what do we got going on here? And that's what he told me. Instead of doing the draw straw, he already had the sump kit, so he just eliminated the draw straw and just ran the return back through the pickup and cut it off, so it just free flowing in there. So I'm gonna do that real fast. I'm gonna wrap this up here, just go over a couple quick things real quick before I do shut it out. So right now pretty much everything's good to go on the motor. I gotta get a band clamp here for the turbo. I did end up late last night. I came out here just bored messing around, threw on the fan and the shroud. That's tightened down, everything's good to go there. Really, I think the only last two things we got to do on here, these, before somebody says something somewhere in the train of this, these are not tightened down. None of the boots are, none of the hoses and clamps are where they actually need to be. I just kind of threw them on there for reference. Last thing I need to do, like I said, is I got to put this exhaust clamp on the downpipe, and then I got this one fitting here, which is what I was going to go over. Before I do put the cab on, I'm still going to try to find those two bolts, try to find something a little bit better, something that gives me more of a relaxing mindset on that, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Other than that, before I obviously put the cab on, I'm going to go back through. I'm going to double check all my bolts, everything up top. Don't want any issues. But this is what I wanted to go over real quick. These two fittings here, that's a 45, this is a 90. I think I'm going to put this 45 on, even if it does come up a little bit. I just don't like that bend. I mean, this is the fuel here, this is the feed. So I like this one a little bit better if it's shorter of a route. It seems like it's obviously more of a straight flow into the block. So I am going to put this on here. That's gonna sit like so. Let me give her a little quick tighten down. So it is going to be kind of crazy up in the air. I mean, it's, you know, obviously it's going to sit like this without the extra length here. So it is going to sit there like that somewhere. It'll be kind of crazy. Actually, I don't know if I can actually even do that. I might have to come out a little bit more. I'm gonna have to throw the intake on real quick again and kind of figure that out. But I might just leave this to last. Just throw that on there, tie this up with the stuff, throw this all over, and be done. Like I said, that's it. New turbo setups, Harrington T4 kit with a Smeding 364.5 with a 70. It's a, what is that? A 73.9. It's got a 0.91 AR housing. That's what I found out best to be for, just off the words of people out there in the world. A lot of people said that that would be a good combo for towing, but still get down if I want to. So we'll see. I have a feeling this setup's not going to be on here long, just because I do like the 6.0 whistle. I like the sound. So if we do change it up, you guys are gonna have to help me on that. But anywho, stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys got any questions or advice on what I did here, or anything, just comment below. And actually do this for me if you guys can, please, and I would really appreciate this. Let me know what you guys think this setup is going to be on the dyno, how much horse and torque we're gonna have. I am gonna dyno it just for fun. There's a place down this not too far from here that does 3 pulls for like 150 bucks. I'm not doing that to go there and think I have a race truck. I do want to see what this will do though. 205/30 Warren injectors. I just told you the turbo setup. We got the fast regulated return, a couple other little things. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.